Combating discrimination means understanding just how complex the problem truly is. So Airbnb has partnered with leading civil rights groups and privacy experts to create entirely new processes to help determine when people's experiences differ based on how their race is perceived. By pinpointing when discrimination might be happening, we can work together to put a stop to it. This begins with using information people on Airbnb already share, like first names and profile photos, to help us understand the race someone else might see them as. It's important because understanding how someone is perceived can help prevent them from being discriminated against in the first place. We know it can feel scary when companies use your personal information, even for projects like fighting discrimination. So it's important you know how we protect it and how seriously we take your privacy. Before we use this information for this work, identifiable details are removed so that they will not be tied back to any account on Airbnb. We do all this because it's the right thing to do, and because a community that works together to be more inclusive benefits us all, no matter your background. We open more doors, create more human connections, and build more trust amongst every host and guest. Your support is essential to this journey. Protecting your information and making the platform better for everyone is how we all work towards a world where anyone can belong anywhere.
We often describe our hosts as superheroes. We realize you don't run around wearing capes. Actually, if you do, we wouldn't be that surprised. Because the hosts in this next category have proven their superpowers in incredible ways. In Paris, France, after the attacks last fall, hosts Etienne and Sylvie whisked their guests away to their country home to provide safety and peace amidst the terror. In Laverne in Utah, hosts Dawn and Cindy called 911 when their guest hadn't returned from a hike. They found him fallen 100 feet, severely injured, and quite literally saved his life. In Los Angeles, California, when a rogue fire claimed host Rebecca's garage on Thanksgiving morning, she did what any good host would do. She evacuated her guests, fought the fire off by herself, and instead of staying in the hospital with her burns, went back home to host Thanksgiving for her guests. Yes, these are truly extraordinary real-life heroes. We just happen to call them hosts. It's easy to think that, as one person, it's impossible to make a real difference in the world. But as the hosts in this final category have proven, when you mix the spirit of hospitality with the desire to do something good in the world, you have a pretty potent thing. A fuel that can power your own engine of world change. Bigger than you, more capable than any one person working alone. In Imabari, Japan, Superhosts Mr. and Mrs. Tokunaga put their proceeds from hosting to fuel the good work of Doctors Without Borders. In Montreal, Canada, Abigail hosts so she can support an entire Syrian refugee family for a year while they start their new life in a new country. And in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, Tom uses his host earnings to sustain his own nonprofit, giving free music lessons to children in a nearby favela. His guests have started volunteering with him too. Stories like these remind us that when you find a way to amplify your kindness, using it to build something bigger than yourself, you truly have the power to change the world.
Berlin, 1987. My father was a guard on the west side of the Berlin Wall. while another man guarded the east. Eventually, the wall came down, but even after moving away, my father carried a piece of it with him. While I grew up, it lingered over all of us, a barrier between him and the rest of the world. I decided I would help by taking him back to Berlin to show him the beautiful place it had become. When we arrived, the stranger who answered the door became familiar. The guard who patrolled the opposite side of the wall now welcomed us as a friend. After that, things were better for my father.